Hello friends, welcome to our channel. Today we are going to discuss the important topic. Today the world is standing on the edge of something that many feared for decades. The question echoing across nations is simple but terrifying. Will World War III begin in the Middle East? The winds of conflict are rising again. Explosions, political tension, military movement, every sign points to a storm that could pull the entire world into chaos. Tension between Israel and Iran has reached a level unseen in years. Missiles, words, and warnings are flying faster than diplomacy can catch them. And in the middle of it all, the United States has stepped back into the spotlight. Donald Trump's recent appearance in the Israeli parliament reignited global discussion. His speech was powerful, emotional, and filled with bold promises. He called for strength, unity, and decisive action against what he described as the threats growing in the region. But his words did not just echo in Jerusalem. They were heard in Tehran, Moscow, and Beijing too. Behind closed doors, governments are preparing for the worst. Military intelligence reports suggest that several nations have increased surveillance and mobilized forces near the Persian Gulf. American warships are once again patrolling the Mediterranean. Israeli air defenses are on high alert. Iran, on the other hand, has warned of a response that will shake the entire world if it faces any direct attack. But how did we get here? Why is this region, so rich in history and faith, always standing on the brink of war? The story begins decades ago. The Middle East has always been the crossroads of civilizations, a land where religion, oil, and power collide. After the fall of the Ottoman Empire, the borders drawn by colonial powers created new nations but old rivalries. Each war since then has left deep scars. The Arab-Israeli conflict, the wars in Iraq and Syria, the US interventions, and Iran's growing regional influence all became parts of a long-burning fuse. Now, that fuse is dangerously close to the flame. Recent intelligence leaks reveal quiet talks between Iran and Russia, discussions that may involve weapons and defense cooperation. Meanwhile, the United States is sending new defense systems to Israel and warning other countries not to interfere. European powers are urging peace but preparing for oil shortages and market collapse if the region explodes. In Washington, the debate has become fierce. Some believe that strong action against Iran is necessary to prevent future attacks. Others warn that even a single wrong move could trigger a chain reaction that cannot be stopped. Economists are already predicting global inflation, oil price spikes, and massive instability if war breaks out. Donald Trump's comments have added even more fire to the storm. His speech in the Israeli parliament was more than symbolic. It was a message, one that reminded the world that the United States still sees Israel as a key partner and that any threat to it could bring American power back into the battlefield. But this also brings danger. Iran sees these gestures as direct aggression. Tehran's leaders have declared that any interference in their regional influence will be met with total resistance. They have allies in Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen ready to strike if war begins. In short, one spark in the Middle East could set half the world ablaze. Meanwhile, the global stage is shifting. Russia, dealing with its own conflicts, still has influence in Syria and connections with Iran. China, though silent, has deep economic interests in the region through its Belt and Road projects. If conflict begins, both nations could be forced to take sides, not through soldiers, but through trade, energy, and diplomacy. And that is where the real danger lies. World War III might not start with armies crossing borders. It could begin with cyber attacks, economic blockades, and misinformation campaigns spreading across the internet faster than truth itself. In the midst of all this, ordinary people are afraid. Families in Israel and Gaza fear the sound of sirens once again. Workers in American cities watch the rising gas prices and wonder what comes next. People around the world ask the same question. Has humanity learned nothing from history? The Middle East has seen peace talks before. Promises were made, deals were signed, and yet peace never lasted. Each generation inherits the anger of the last. And now, as both faith and politics collide again, the possibility of a global disaster becomes harder to ignore. Trump's speech may have reignited political hope for some, but for others, it reminded them of a darker truth. That power and pride can easily turn into destruction. The world today is a web of fragile alliances. The US supports Israel, but also needs Arab nations for oil stability. Iran pushes its influence but faces pressure from within. Russia and China both play silent games of strategy, waiting for others to make mistakes. Experts warn that if just one missile crosses the wrong border, if one nation overreacts, the consequences will be unstoppable. Nuclear powers would be forced to respond. Alliances like NATO would be tested. The economic systems that keep our world running could crumble overnight. But amid the fear, there is still a small window of hope. Diplomats from several countries are pushing for emergency talks. The United Nations is calling for restraint. Peace organizations around the world are asking for calm before the point of no return. And yet, history tells us that when tension reaches this level, even the smallest event can ignite something huge. So the world waits. Leaders speak. Armies prepare. Journalists report. But behind every headline is a silent truth. No one really knows what tomorrow will bring. The Middle East stands as the heart of this storm, and the question remains, will this conflict stay within its borders, or will it pull the entire world into a fire that cannot be extinguished? The clock is ticking. As you watch this, new statements are being made, new alliances are being drawn, and perhaps new plans are already in motion. Only time will reveal whether we are witnessing another chapter in history, or the beginning of something far darker. Stay connected with us, where truth meets perspective.